I was just sitting trying to pay attention to what was going on. Mittens. Look, I think we're bringing people together around an agenda that works for all.
Senator Bernie
Mittens.
Okay, here's one of my earlier moldings. I'll start taking some pictures and video of this. This is Tweety Bird. What's left of Tweety Bird. I like, once I started learning how to do the stuff and mold it out of resin, try to get a little more creative and crazy, try special effects. This is a mold of the axe from the gargantuan guard of Star Wars, my Star Wars figures, and of course Tweety's head, and then a bomb from one of my airplane models, all put together. Poor little Tweety Bird's biting the dust here. And I used an old pin that I had for the back, and so there's the side view. Poor little Tweety. That's Tweety Bird. Okay, cataloging some of the things I made out of resin before. Polymer resin. I kind of like special effects. Somebody I used to work with gave me this. It was like a plastic or rubber fingertip. Said, what can I do with it? So I molded it into these two as well as other stuff. So it's solid now, and try to use a little bit of special effects. And so what I call the thumbnail, the thumb with a nail all the way through it. How well that's coming out on the video. And then, I guess in the pool of blood, there's the like a thumb bone, I guess. So to kind of sit in its own pool of blood, the thumbnail. It's kind of like the gory special effects. Also did a keychain. These are the ones that I saved. I don't remember how many I made, but same idea with the thumb, with the nail through it. And then the bone becomes the, the ring for the keychain. I think I made a dozen of these or so that I made for people and people bought. Been a while. Now these are all hand painted with the similar to the thumb thing I made recently, which is what brought this back up, except these don't have any latex or not a soft skin or anything like that, just like hard plastic. So just wanted to kind of catalog these two, because stuff that I've had in a box, things for me to keep. A lot of times the stuff I make, I don't save any, either give it all away or whatever. So there's a few things that I have saved from back in the day, which is kind of interesting, because now with 3D printing stuff where you can make it, I had made molds. Everything was from this was molds, and of course there's the Tweety Bird, the infamous Tweety Bird that I did back in the day. That I filmed a little bit ago. So here's one of the first pieces that I did, mixing latex that I used for making the molds with the resin to kind of use it for skin. It was just a face, like a skull, and the skin is peeling off the skull, and then there's an eye, and I did the eye, painted the eye, and then put more resin over the top to make it look shiny for like an eyeball type of idea. And then it had a pin more, and this was actually I put a date on. I actually used to put dates on this as 1990, so been quite a while ago. And it's holding up pretty well. I have this stuff wrapped in an old box, and wrapped in paper. So another one of the collection of which I had saved. This one may be the only one of these I ever made. So, but you can get some interesting reactions. Used to wear my smock at work when I was working it in shipping and receiving. So, there's the collection so far that I've gotten out of the box. So, on to the next one here. Well, here's the whole collection. It was in this one box that I had. I guess there wasn't as much in there as I thought that I had saved. I got a second box of more stuff. So basically I've got another fingertip keychain they had. It's kind of the same blue as the one in the pool of the blood, with the again, just a joking idea of fingernail. And got I think it's a Glock maybe, or a Beretta, I'm not really sure. It's just not a pin or anything, it's just a mold and painted black. All that stuff I do just to see, like I do now, once I have some changes to see if I can do it. And I like painting and try something different, see if I can paint the detail. Here's a skull. I did a lot of the skulls back in the day. This one has it's clear, and it has a P61 Black Widow plain on the inside. You can see through there, and then it's painted white on the back. It's a pin. I used to use the P61 logo for all my Wacko radio mixtapes and stuff that I used to do, the fake radio station. So I used to use the P61 pin and magnets and stuff for a lot of things. It's one of the train locomotives that I did. I'm not sure what kind of train it is, and it's just a blank. It's not. I made a bunch with magnets built into it. And a lot of these were the trains. Some of the trains and some of the planes were built. The latex molds that I made were off of belt buckles. So I think, I'm not really sure. And of course there's Bart Simpson, Eat My Shorts. And come on, whoops, hands don't hold on to these. And it's not too bad a shape. And it had two pins to hold it upright. And then I did a molded parachute guy that used to get with a little parachute you threw up in the air as a kid. And my molds, some of them came out, they would have trouble with the one leg. So I'd have them. I had some of them that were in like the mouth of a shark or whatever. It's this poor slob. And I painted the detail there, minus the foot. Like he's forlorn. The original, I think he was hanging with the parachute. He come up upside down. That's why he looked so forlorn. And then, of course, the Boston Terrier head there. Did a lot of Bostons, since that's kind of the family breed. This poor guy here has lost his pin. He was on the pin, but it's broken off over the years. Another one of the parachute guys. Also with the missing foot. I think they would come out of the molds. Some particular reason that foot wouldn't mold all the way through. When you pour it in, they get like an air bubble or something. And so I got a lot of them without feet. So I used them for creative ways. But I thought it was interesting because his foot was missing and he had this forlorn look on his face. And then of course my Garfields. I did a bunch of Garfields. This one had a rough day, and this originally had the whole handle like the Tweety did up there with the axe in his face. I'm not really sure what happened to his, but it's broke off. A lot of these things I would keep when they go wrong, and I end up keeping the ones that would go wrong. So he was a pin, and of course he got his ear hacked off first, so he had kind of a rough day He had a rough day shaving, I guess is what it was. Same way with Tweety up there. So, and then this was one of the Garfields I did that's complete. And except his eyes would light up. It's got LEDs, which I used to get all my parts from Radio Shack and whatever. And so you put a battery, one had a watch battery, went in the back, and a pin. I'll see if I've got a watch battery around here that I can use to see if he still works. But that's the collection out of this little box. I only got 2 boxes. I have that one and a Radio Shack box stuff that I've kept for all the stuff that I made over the years. Pins and magnets mostly. I had pins and magnets and keychains and that kind of stuff. Some of the stuff I sold, a lot of it I gave away. It's hard to sell any of the stuff to get out what you have in it because it's kind of labor intensive, and then of course all the hand painting. So it's kind of hard to, when you can go to Myers or whatever. So people told me, well, I can go to Myers and get a magnet for 99 cents. Well, yeah, it's not handmade and hand painted like these. So anyway, I'll continue going and see what I come up with and get into the other box. This was in a box that I'd had. I think it had a statue in it originally. Something that I got that I used to deliver stuff back and forth to work. It's got my Hologram Creations official transport box. And I'd gotten something in this. Might have been my dinosaur that I had. And then I've got another box down there, which is actually an antique now. It's a Radio Shack speaker box, but that's the other box that I have stuff in. And I got these down to get supplies out to make my brother's thumb drive. So I guess all in all these years, I really haven't moved beyond this kind of level of work. But it's kind of nice. So we'll check out the other box here. Okay, I found a battery for test out old Garfield, and he works. I don't have the right, it's kind of goofy looking. I had some of them that I had made that had flashing eyes. Some of them had steady eyes. The steady eyes were cooler because they kind of like they were staring at you. This is just kind of a goofy thing. I don't have the correct battery for this, so I had to cobble together. It's a 2032, and it sticks way out below Garfield. Run a lot longer than the original, what the battery would have been that I designed for, but I don't even remember what the original design number was, but anyway, it's a 2032, but like, whoa, I dropped him. Everything keeps slipping out of my fingers. So anyway, he would run with that for a long time, although I'm amazed it still works, so pretty cool. Okay, here's the collection from the other box of stuff that I made quite a while back. All the stuff made out of polymer resin that I poured from latex molds that I had made over the years. We got some turtles. Used to like making a lot of turtles. I found out when my dad was along, he used to be able to get turtles or something like that, or a long time ago, they used to have, like at fairs and like state fairs and whatever, turtles with stuff painted on their shells. So I thought it was an intriguing idea, so I wasn't sure I wasn't going to do it with real turtles, so I was able to mold. I got turtles to mold. I molded them into magnets, and then painted different things on their backs in my sloppy handwriting. Northmont was our rival school when I was in high school, so that was kind of a slam against Northmont. And then I interned at a radio station, Light 99.9 FM, it was WLQT, and so I did some turtles with, later on I did some turtles with that on their shell, and they had like a magnet or something of their logo. They had like a little hot air balloon, so I tried to do hot air balloon on one, although not too great. best I could do. And then this was one, I had forgotten about this one. It was just kind of a funny saying. So I'm throwing a turtle tantrum. And they were just painted on the shells. And they were magnets embedded in them, into the resin. This one here was just a green shell, which makes it really kind of hard to read. But it says Dayton, Ohio, birthplace of aviation. You can see that on there or not. That was another Light 99 turtle that was just didn't have the thing on it, the hot air balloon. And then I talked about the skulls earlier in my other video that used batteries, LEDs. This one was another one of the skulls that I did that had the face video where I had the skin peeling off. This is what the skull looked like with the flashing LEDs. And I got the battery on the back, and it's a pin that goes on. I just got the thing temporarily battery put in it, so just to get it to work, to see if it still works after all these years. That one, the flashing one, I don't like as well as the looks more like a railroad crossing thing or something. The one I liked was this steady one, and that's pressure sensitive. So it had a pin, and then it looks like it's bleeding, and it's steady, and then when you put pressure on the back, it lights up. So when you're got the thing, when you're wearing the pin, it's a pin. When you wear it on your shirt or hat or whatever, when you put pressure on it, it light up, and it's steady. And it looks, truthfully on the screen here, it looks white, but it's actually red, just like the other one. And then you let go, and it's got supposed to be like crying blood out of its eyes. So that was, truthfully, see there, if you set it down, that was kind of one of my favorites, just in the lighting. I had a bunch of different ones with LEDs and stuff. And of course, all the stuff has a great thing to go to Radio Shack for. You know, you get stuff at Radio Shack, parts and pieces and stuff for working electronics, although fortunately they're no longer around. Moving on, let's see, this Boston was the first thing I actually tried to make of my own design, because everything else I had to copy something with the latex mold. This, I actually had clay and made my own pieces and tried to make a Boston head, which didn't turn out very well, with its tongue sticking out. And then, so I made this on my own and then let it dry. This was, I think, a hook. I think this was supposed to be an ornament, a Christmas ornament. And then I made the mold then of, this is molded. Then I made the polymer mold. I made the polymer casting from, I made the mold in latex of the clay of the, that I made the thing, the original one out of. And then from the latex mold, I made this guy. And it's kind of painted like one of my dogs at the time I had. It was my favorite dog, Kitty, and she had a white tip on her ear. So it's kind of special, I guess. The truth, I'd kind of forgotten that I had done these, but I wasn't very good at molding, making my own things. I was pretty sloppy at it, so didn't make a whole lot. This is the same thing, it just not done. This was what I call these a blank. Once I would make the polymer resin and make the mold out of latex, when I'd pour the resin in, and then it would harden, I would pull out of the mold and then clean it off. I'd use mold release. And then these unpainted pieces I would just call blanks. Again, just my own nomenclature, just the way I called it. So these are the unpainted designs. And sometimes they were kind of neater to leave them that way, like the skull that I had the other with, that you could see the plane through. So you can see that's the blank and then the painted version. That's painted in gloss. Here's another one. This is dog poop that I made from a mold, a latex mold that I made of a silicone pile of dog poop that came from Spencer's Gifts, I believe. Anyway, I had made some brown poop that I had with lights in it for lighted dog poop, which is a whole nother story. I won't get into that. And then this is just a blank that was never used for whatever reason. And so you could kind of see, it almost looks like amber kind of, but it's a pile of dog poop. And then here's a Boston. This was actually from regular mold of like a magnet that I had. And then I would just paint different. This one's really not a very well marked Boston with mostly white head and ear. But I just do different, try different markings for different magnets. And this one there's no markings or anything on the back. So there's no magnet in it. Some of them I would put magnets in them and some. So I'm not sure what that guy was for. Then did some dinosaurs, which I was big into dinosaurs when I was younger, and then kind of got back into them with Jurassic Park and some of those. And so this is a Stegosaurus that I did. It was an actual Stegosaurus shape, and I'll explain that in a second. But it was from a set that I did, so it's a Stegosaurus. Didn't come out too bad, actually. But I started to modify stuff like I did with all this stuff. And there was a guy that I used to work with named Ron Selman. He worked at Beerbins when I worked on the truck dock and receiving. And he used to work for Coca-Cola during the day. So when I was doing this stuff, I was kind of always joking back and forth. And so I found doing this that I could make a mold. I molded Lando Calrissian, the Star Wars figure. And then with the blank, which is this part, I could shave off when it was still a little soft. I could shave off the top of the head and make him kind of bald, which is just like Ron, and then paint it up. He looked just like Ron, which is, I don't know if it could be seen or not, mustache at all. The bald spot. Hey, Ron was a good sport. I picked on him a lot. We had a lot of fun. And so this I called the first Coca-Cola delivery vehicle, because I made molds of Coca-Cola bottles, painted the caps, and then these are like the blanks, and then I painted the back of them brown so you can see it through the transparent thing. And then I used wire, I think probably from when I was working with I don't know, a strand from stranded wire, wrapped it around it and put over the top like they'd be balancing themselves. So there's 4 of them over the Stegosaurus's back, cut the head off of it, put Ron's head on it, painted it up, and then I called it Rontosaurus, the original, which is hard to read on it anymore. This is the original Coke delivery vehicle. And funny story about this, I made one of these. The first one I made, this was the second one. I only made 2 of them. First one I gave to Ron, of course. And this was the second one. First one I did was the F-Rontosaurus, which I don't have here. And it was a Coke delivery guy. It was and it was one of these, the Velociraptors with his head on it. And then this is the Stegosaurus with the bobbles. And so this is the Coke delivery vehicle, where the first one was Coke delivery guy. And the story was I gave these to Ron, and Ron came in and told me, he's like, "You son of a bitch, you know what my wife's doing with that?" And I said, "No." Well, she's taken it to, if I remember the story correctly, she'd take it with her to bingo. She played bingo like every week as a good luck charm. And she'd take it and set it on the table in front of her when she was playing bingo to bring her good luck. I really thought that was kind of neat. I thought it was kind of to have Ron with her, in some form. Ron didn't find that too humorous, but I thought it was nice. So that's the story behind this guy. And then, of course, there's the dog poop. And then this is the Triceratops. which I made, and it's the full body. Although it was made, I made it into, it was from a magnet. And so I had done it on the side, so I decided to see if I could move it. So I kind of finagled it around, and you can see it's not, it didn't really do a very good job, but it's two separate pieces and then fastened together here kind of on the back. So if you look from the top, it looks a little goofy, and from underneath. But I really couldn't mold, because I had to be able to take the thing, peel it off the mold. I couldn't do the whole body, feet, and then to be able to peel it off to get that part of it. So I did it in two pieces. So that's why he looks the way he does. But he can stand now, so he came up kind of good. So I had him, and I had the Stegosaurus. I had a Brontosaurus that I don't have that here right now. It wasn't in this box. The first ones I did were the Velociraptors, and I did a ton of them. Everybody wanted Velociraptors since it was at Jurassic Park. They were ripping everybody's guts out. So I did some of those, and here's the good old Velociraptor. Dinosaurs loved the stupid little trolls for dinner. The trolls were big at the same time too, although they were kind of goofy. So I made a mold of a troll, and then the hair, even had the hair on it, and then dinosaurs just chewing the hell out of him. So he's got his arm in his mouth, and the troll's kind of like just still smiling even though he's getting eaten. The blood running down. I like to have the blood run down. And then I mentioned before in the other video about the little pilot guy, and I had trouble holding his leg. So I found that I could use a Velociraptor and the poor little guy, and he looks like Lou Costello. Now, so unhappy, and he's getting chomped by the Velociraptor. So there's the Velociraptor, and he's a magnet, as is this guy and most of these. And then I did, it was kind of unusual, there was a lady that, one of the supervisors when I worked at Beardman's, had a baby was pregnant while she was there. And so we did I was kind of asked to do a Storkosaurus, which I don't know what the hell's a Storkosaur. So it's kind of a funny takeoff of a dinosaur, and supposedly he's holding the baby in swaddling clothes or whatever it is, a little thing. So I called it the Storkosaurus, and I made a second one for myself, and it's got a magnet on the back. Hers, I make a little story about explaining the Storkosaurus and all that. The people in her department came up with the idea. I just followed through on it. And of course, also Barney the purple dinosaur was huge at that time. So I did some Barneys, and he's a magnet. And of course, I had to put this on there. Barney the purple dumb shit. Because a lot of people didn't like Barney. And some people even got mad at me making Barney. Now fortunately he stuck to the paper. He's been out box for a while, so the purple paint kind of stuck over the years. But I made him begrudgingly because a lot of people loved him and a lot of people hated him. So I made some of these like this for the people that loved him, and I made some of these for the people that hated him. And it's Barney the dinosaur getting run over by a car or a truck. He's got tire treads across his chest like he got run over by a car or a truck or something. This guy had no magnet, so he hadn't, I'm not really sure why. I think it was just supposed to lay down like that to be displayed. And then for some particular reason, I'm not really sure why, I got these guys. And it was kind of, I guess, maybe the answer to the Barney being picked on and run over by a car. But he kind of takes revenge by sporting a flamethrower, which I thought was kind of cool. Barney doesn't get he's you know, like a flame-throwing, like a dragon or a dinosaur. So he's kind of getting even, and I think I molded the. This is the whole mold of Barney. These are the front parts of Barney that were molded to like a magnet. This is a whole statue of him, and the flamethrower. The flamethrower might have been molded off one of my G.I. Joe figures at the time or something. Either old G.I. Joe or it could have been off of some other action figure or something. I'm not really sure. But so he's got the flamethrower molded. I mean the handle part, and then the back tank, and then it got connecting to. It used the same idea as the Brontosaurus delivery vehicle. It's a strand of stranded wire that I unstranded and then glued and then painted, and of course had to write this on, you know. So this is Barney the purple flamethrowing dumb shit. So you got Barney the purple dumb shit. Nothing on the back of that one. And then you got two flamethrowing, and then this sign was there with it. Not wanting to be outdone, Barney announces flamethrowers are the coolest. So I'm not really sure why that, but it's also got another side to it. It says turning over a new leaf, Barney yells, "Scorch them all, let God sort them out." So Barney was kind of a badass. You know, it was this dark side you just didn't know about. So, anyway, so those are the kind of the stuff that I had in that box. There's more stuff that I've got scattered around, but kind of get the idea of. I just wanted to basically do a reminder video for myself and just for archival sake. So that's kind of the mold stuff, and I'll go ahead and pack it all back up and put it back in the box for now.